go live. And actually, I should probably record it as well. Record to the cloud, just in case Zoom doesn't do a good job. Go live. And actually, I should probably let me mute YouTube. So, hello to all of you watching at home, those millions of people who are tuning in. I am here with Nahla Summers, one of the biggest legends in the whole wide world, and we are using this as an experience to test out live. So, a lot of people want to go live, and one of the easiest ways to do it is to just join a Zoom call with someone and then click go live on YouTube, and it literally just does itself for you. But I asked Nahla if she'd be my first person because, okay, my own description of Nahla is that Nahla is the biggest legend who travels the world on adventures promoting kindness. But her Wikipedia is a little bit more formal. Nahla Summers is an adventurer, author, social campaigner, and researcher for kindness. She undertakes challenges each year asking people to show support by doing an act of kindness for a stranger. Her biggest to date was a world record for further distance on an elliptical cycle in a single journey of 5,007 miles in 2020, so during a pandemic. She also founded a culture of kindness that specialises in culture change in businesses using the concept of kindness, which is something that I just think is so important in business today. Recently, she launched her second book called The Accidental Adventurer, and I loved reading it. It's one of those books, right, that you kind of read a sentence and you get shivers up your spine and you put it down and you're like, oh, the world isn't as bad as I'm imagining it to be. There's loads of lovely, kind people out there, so I would totally suggest getting that. She's currently training for a couch to marathon. And literally every time I speak to her, she's planning a new adventure. But what I'd like to speak to Nahla about today is video, because Nahla has embraced video content creation as a method of communicating her missions of kindness to the world and building a community through this of people who believe in the power of kindness and love following on her journeys. So Nahla, I'm going to ask you one of the most hardest questions that anyone could ever answer. But, what do you think is your life purpose?
Oh, it's an incredibly powerful question. And I've been in conversations with people about this, but I think the purpose of us all actually comes down to supporting each other. It never comes down to us. And when we all think, well, our purpose is about supporting, inspiring other people, then we all grow, we all work together. If everybody in our political system thought that, then we would continue to grow, right? It's all about the service to others. Not at the detriment of ourselves, of course, but when we put that first and foremost, we start to see change in the world. So yeah, that's how I try to think of my purpose.
And like you worked in a very corporate environment, climbing the corporate ladder as I did myself. Is that where you kind of noticed where kindness was so powerful, or was it following after that?
Yeah, I hadn't, while I was in it, while I was in my corporate world, kind of living it as we do, and all the stress and anxiety and all the things that come up along the way, you don't realize quite what's missing. I understood that there was something within the foundations of all the organizations that I was in that was missing, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And as I kind of became this researcher of kindness really by accident, I started to understand more about not just acts of kindness or service to others, but the whole umbrella of kindness, which is empathy and integrity and trust, and these kind of 7 core values that came out from the research. And from there, I was like, yeah, this is missing from so many of our workplaces. You look at any system that has broken down, whether that's internally within families, whether that's workplaces, whether that's politically, whether it's within certain elements of our NHS, you start to see that fundamentally it's kindness. It's missing trust. It's missing integrity. It's missing time, the ability to be able to sit and be present with somebody without trying to fix it. And just giving people space enough to air how they feel and respect that. All of those things come down to And yeah, I realized it was missing. And that's really where it kind of developed and came from.
And did you like, I've never actually asked you this, and we talk all the time, like, and I love talking to you. I come off the phone every time and I'm like, yeah, I've got a new idea. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But like, did you leave your job in a like, I'm out of here, I'm now out to work on kindness kind of thing, or was it more gradual?
Yeah, there was a gradual. I was still working. I took a year out and was fostering children and kind of writing a book and doing a few other things. And then I went back into the corporate world because, you've been 15 years in it. It feels like, oh, it's the safe place. Everybody who's watching will go, yeah, I know that. It's much easier to go to the place where I'm getting a regular check each month, and there's safety in that, right? But I spent a couple of years back in that out in the Middle East, and it just wasn't comfortable for me. And I knew that I needed to be doing something more. And I knew that I needed to be taking all the research that I had done out there into the world and continue to do that. So, yeah, it was kind of gradual, but there was a point when I was in Dubai when I had booked my ticket to cycle across America for my CIC, which is Sunshine People, which is the kind of, I talk about it as kindness in society, promoting kindness in society. And I booked the ticket, didn't have a bike while I was in Dubai. I hadn't owned a bike in 20 years. And I flew back to England on the Christmas. I was flying out on the 1st of March. I didn't get a bike until sometime in January. And that was really the defining moment when I knew that there was no going back. Once I'd cycled across America, I'd sold my house in the UK to pay for it. And I knew that I couldn't go back. I couldn't go back to the corporate world. I knew that there was bigger conversations to be had and promote. So, yeah.
And I think one of the things that stuck with me during one of our first conversations was that, you raised a lot of money, and then it went to a charity, and then you asked the charity, where did the money go? Like, what specifically did it help? And they were like, oh, well, it actually just went into a big pot. We don't really track where the money goes. And then you decided to not raise money. Instead, you decided to raise awareness about acts of kindness. But is it difficult to, I guess, do what you're doing without raising significant amounts of money and relying on kindness?
Um, do you know, it's been incredibly difficult because what I'm doing is I'm starting a narrative that's never been done before, never been had. And we all like familiar. So people will, when I started it, they'd say, I don't really understand it. Can't I just give you £10? Like, I'll give you £10 for what you do, whatever you want with it, And I was like, no, you're missing my point. And the point of it was I wanted to start a different conversation to say, we put so much emphasis on measuring our success and lives by money. But what if we measured our success and lives by human connections? And what would the outcome be for each of us? How much would you feel that? How much would that other person feel? And as my story started really with an act of kindness of a stranger. And that power of 10 minutes, there's story after story out there of moments of connection that are no more than 10 minutes that have changed people's lives. There's no amount of money that can be put on that, but we're not talking about that because it feels uncomfortable, feels so emotional, right? And so for me, it was about, let's change the narrative, let's have a different conversation. And people get it now, people understand it more, but it's taken a lot of years of me having the conversation. But what's been highlighted now is, as we go into a new world with social media technology and all of those things, the need to have more of a conversation on kindness, on trust, we look at our politics, not just in the UK, across the world. We look at where there is a problem is usually because of a lack of kindness somewhere. So yeah, it's been an interesting road. It's been challenging, but it's been really, really worthwhile in terms of I've seen it from a world point of view. Before it was a bit of fun. It was I'm going to cycle across America, or before I even cycled across America, obviously had done a number of smaller challenges. Oh, it's a bit of fun, and I'll do kindness and start a bit of a different conversation. And now it's about my life's work and about saying, actually, we need to have a different conversation about this in workplaces, in politics, in families. Our families dynamics is completely different now. We don't stay with our partner forever, for example, and that's okay. But how we deal with the aftermath of those of breaking a relationship when we have children to consider is hugely important. How do we deal with conflict? I've got some wonderful friends who have parted ways, and they've got together, and actually they make it into a bigger family with ex-partners, and they communicate well, and that's what we need to strive towards, that increased connection, even when it's really tough. So kindness has never been so important in my eyes.
And with the whole family dynamic thing, like from my own personal perspective, my family divided, like split in half at 12 years old, and never recovered from that ever again. And I had a friends that I met then when I was traveling, and they're like they're oh god, like they brothers and sisters from different families with kind of the same dad, who were able to all grow up together as one unit. And it literally blew my mind that that was something that was an option. I just thought that if a family broke down, that was it, you just part ways and never speak to each other again. And that opened my eyes to this whole different way. So I totally respond to what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I find it fascinating. I'll ask you about the video stuff in a second, but I picked up the book earlier again, and I was reading. I just like opened it up in a random passage, and it was when your phone broke, I think, on the ferry. And as you were getting off the ferry, or as you were about to get off, a lady came up to you and said, do you want to come and sit in my garden and have tea and coffee? And you didn't want to impose initially. You were like, no, it's fine. And that is the way that I am too, and I think most people are. If someone offers you kindness or extends kindness to you, you're like, no, I'm fine, I can sort myself out. But then in the book you said you had to, I don't know how you phrased it. You'll do it better than me now. But like, part of kindness, part of giving is accepting as well. And I'd just like to hear from you.
Yeah, no, that's part of giving is accepting. It's very easy for us to say, oh, no, I don't want to bother you. I'm very the same as you. My mother brought me up. Nobody puts food on the table for you. You do that. You need to be self-sufficient in life. And while also being brought up in ultimately a very traditional family. So there's been a bit of a yin and yang, but it has brought me up to be independent. And so then relying on people and asking for support is a challenge for me. But what I realized that on all of these challenges and the journey, and particularly in Ireland, because that could have been the end of my challenge if I had not had the support of that lady, actually, Helen. And what I realized was they were getting something out from that. They were part of my challenge. They were part of making all these acts of kindness happen. They were part of the journey with me. And so while I did, the walking or the cycling or the stepping on the elliptical, a lot of the challenges were because these people supported me along the way. It wasn't just me doing it. These 250,000 acts of kindness that have been raised so far, it's not been about me. Yes, I've been the one in the camera and on the PR, but there's been hundreds and thousands of people that have given me food, a place to stay, a supportive ear, said, oh, I saw you on the TV, or just it's been supportive along the way that have kept me going. And I think, and I hope, that came across in the book, that we are not better alone. We are better when we come as a community, when we all try to serve each other and help each other and come as a community. And that will be our survival, really. And kindness is a key to that.
And then just to transition on to the video stuff, because I guess why we got in touch with each other was you were at a mobile video conference or a general video conference. You met a mutual friend of ours, Keith. Keith put us in touch with each other and was like, I feel like you're the same person, just different accents or something like that. So pretty much, but you're a lot cooler. But how did you get into the video stuff, and how has the journey with like using video to promote your messages been for you so far?
It's absolutely key. I mean, we make a choice within our social media and anything that we watch on video and how we feel about it. So if you watch Trump videos all day, then that's what you're going to believe. And if you watch kindness videos and inspiring adventurers, that's what's going to inspire you. And so it's all about, we all have a duty to what we put out there into the world to be inspiring, motivating, supportive in some way. And so the stuff that I put out, I always try to think, is this supportive? Although I probably put out a lot of stuff as well that's just, I'm too tired, I'm just going to like talk at the camera, it'll be okay. But I think, it's absolutely key to putting the message across and sharing stories. And I'm probably not great at it. But we've, it's been all right because, I put in the Charity Film Awards. It's now run by Smiley News. And if anyone wants to vote, we've got a film in at the moment. Vote, please. I did that on the iPhone and the gimbal, and with your support, using the Cinemaster, following your guidance. You don't need a whole load of equipment. It's very easy to put a message out there, as long as you don't mind not always being perfect, and as you can see from me today, I am not worried about that. So it's been a journey, but I think, with your support, really, it's, how simple it can be. Ultimately, you don't need a lot of stuff, and you can learn these things very quickly.
Absolutely. And like that's one like almost a daily conversation I have with people. They're like, thinking of dropping 50 grand on equipment and stuff like that. And I'm like, don't start with the equipment, start with the story, start with the, putting yourself on camera. Do you remember, because I know kind of you started with a more professional, when you traveled across America, you were kind of, using the drones and kind of the more professional stuff. But do you remember the first time that you actually like held the camera up, press record and uploaded that video to the social, and how did you feel about it?
So what had happened is the chap who came and did the drone footage said to me, good piece of advice, and this is good, is he said, make some little videos, piece to camera, and just tell me about your day at the end of each day, and just test it out. It was the best thing I did. I did 3 days like that, I think. And what it did was it just got me used to the idea of kind of piece to camera, what that looks like, and then kind of going on from there, really. And so then you start to build the confidence. So yeah, it was a great tip for me. And then I think from there, he uploaded and edited a lot of the pieces to camera. So I got familiar with that, and better as I went along, you can see the confidence growing. But I'd say to anyone, just do piece to camera. You're literally talking about your day. What did you do? You do that for a week and you're you'll be able to see the difference from night and day between the first one and the last one for sure.
Absolutely. And when you're speaking to camera, like even, like my videos traditionally were all very professional. It would take me a long time to set up and, I'd have makeup done like I am now, like in the room with the screen and stuff. But I can't ignore TikTok and Instagram Reels, and I can't ignore the authenticity that people crave from creators, where it's less professional, less polished. So even for me in the last few weeks, I've been making TikToks every day and just trying to, get away from the kind of stationary, well lit shots and just pick up the camera and start talking to it. And it is a different vibe. It's a different, like I've one relationship with the camera where it's very professional. And now I'm trying to, I'm pretend the camera is a person. I'm trying to get a more casual relationship with the camera. And it's a little bit hard because I'm used to being like, hello, yes, how are you? Okay, fine. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'll see you there. I can be myself again. Oh, but tell me this. Have you ever received negative feedback or comments on your video, and how did you deal with them? I'm sure you haven't. I hope you haven't. But I'm just wondering, has anything crept in?
No. And do you know, I do get opinions from people. My challenges are unusual and world records, things that people wouldn't normally do, and so people will have an opinion on that. It's disguised as care, but it is opinions. But that's not unpleasant. That's just somebody wanting to air what they think. I've never had an opinion about me or unpleasantness on any of my videos. And I think, I feel like when I do, I've made it. That's what I feel like. When people start to be like really mean about me, or you kind of get the mixed reviews, I'm like, yeah, I know now, because you will then attract everybody, and then you start debates and start conversations, and I feel that I'm thick enough skinned now to not care. I mean, I look like this most of the time. I'm without makeup. I'm in front of the camera. I'm working on. I see you and me are like at opposite ends. I need to nail the professional because I'm about to do some courses and stuff for schools, but I've got I look a bit rough today. It's all a bit haphazard. I've nailed that. That's it's very easy. So yeah, I'm waiting for those comments one day.
And do you know though, like you're training for a couch to marathon at the moment. This morning you ran 3 miles, I think, and your knee is sore.
Yeah.
So, how did you not cancel? And also I saw you made a video this morning. How did you not talk yourself out of that and then cancel today because there's so much going on in your life? Like, how do you prioritize this and actually get it done? Because I talk myself out of videos all the time.
Yeah, there's a thing in my head where I weigh up, I still have to do this. So I know that in 21 days I have to run a marathon. So if I don't run these 3 miles today, I only did 3 miles because, as you said, because I've got a knee, and so knee problem, and I'm getting it fixed this afternoon, and I don't want to damage it, so I don't want to go further than that. But yeah, it's about knowing that in 21 days I've just got to do it, and so it's about choice, and I also prioritize the stuff that I need to do. I prioritize my friends, I prioritize yourself, people that I respect, and so I'm very religious about my diary, about what I'm going to do. I'm juggling quite a few things, but yeah, I've been doing it a while now. I've been doing all this a while, so it's much easier. Before I'd be working 14, 16 hours a day, but a lot of that kind of foundational work that I've done, and all the research and the work and the books and all that sort of thing, it's kind of there now. So that does make it a little bit easier as well. And I always run really early in the morning, so then I'm up and out, and I've got no choice. I'm out of bed then. But I tell you, there's a good person to look up is Mel Robbins. She does the 5 second rule. So you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 out of bed. You just do it. I don't tend to do that. I tend to lie in bed, read my book for half an hour, and then go, oh, I've got to do it because I've got no choice. But if people are looking for motivation, Mel Robbins' 5 second rule is worth looking up.
I read that and I actually thought it was brilliant, but like, unfortunately, I was so motivated, and then 5 days after I read it, I forgot all about it completely, and I was back in bed going, "Oh God, my life is so hard." But how do you prioritize the video? Like this morning, now you were probably like, "I'm sore, I don't want to run." The light is, it's not bright enough yet. How did you not talk yourself out of creating that Instagram this morning? Like, how did you do that?
Okay, sorry, yes. I've committed to doing a video every day in my head, you see. So I'm like, right, I need to do this. And that's just it. I've said I'm going to do it and I need to do it. It's only 21 days as well. So I think when you're trying to put in a habit and then you go, oh, I've got to do one every day forevermore, that's really hard. That's a hard thing to keep going. But I know I'm going to be doing it for 21 days and I'm giving little updates, and the videos probably get worse as I go along. But I know in my head, oh, I'm going to give more tips because I've joined some running groups and they've given me some great tips. So tomorrow I'm going to make sure that I've noted a couple of them down to give to people and that sort of thing. And there is this thing, I think we've talked about this as well. It's so easy to go, oh, I've got to do a video, or oh, I've got to run, And a friend of mine said to me, but if you reframe it, and she got it from somewhere, but and I don't know who she got it from, she did tell me, but if you reframe it to say, I get to make a video. I've got a phone that allows me to make a TikTok to share with the world. That's incredible. There are people who don't have that. They don't even have internet access. So I get to share something with the world. And when you start to reframe things like that, it doesn't become a chore anymore. It becomes like, wow, this is a great opportunity. And I think you can kind of relate that to everything in life, really. But yeah, short 21-day challenges is easier than I've got to make a video every day forevermore.
Totally. And do you think that creating these videos has helped you to spread the message and achieve the purpose of what you've been doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it started, with the videos from America. And although I wasn't doing the videoing, I was doing a little bit with the GoPro, and, I was getting more familiar with pieces to camera that I was doing myself and stuff. But I started to understand that the power of video, and it's the same as writing. If somebody's a reader, the power that writing has to change people's worlds and influence how they feel. And video has exactly the same thing. And it starts a conversation around kindness. It inspires people to think, well, if she can, then I definitely can. Because she's so disorganized and doesn't know what she's doing and isn't very fit. So I can do it too. And that's really what I want the videos to come across as. I'm just an ordinary person choosing to do something extraordinary. And we all have that capability. It's just a choice. So, yeah, I think video does that potentially. If you pitch it right, it's potentially more powerful than writing.
Wow. And then do you think video has hindered you in achieving your purpose in any way?
No, not really. Only the fact that, I need to get better at it and continue to work on video. But I certainly don't think it has. And also, I'm about to do some work with regards to schools and workshops and do all of that on professional video and online. Be looking at all your videos to support me. And And when I do that, that sends it into another stratosphere altogether. On the side, I run a program called Big Talks. And Big Talks is all about getting speakers onto stages in schools, videoing them and making those videos available for everybody. And they're about assembly length, 10 to 15 minutes. And they're filmed a little bit dodgily, not quite right quite yet. It's a learning curve. They're incredibly powerful. What that does is it allows schools who can't get inspirational speakers into their schools for whatever reason, costs or whatever, it allows them to access those talks that are specifically made for young people. That's powerful. Video is incredibly powerful. I don't think there is a negative to that when we choose to make the message an important one.
God, though, but like I just imagine some of your days at the end of like an extremely difficult day after getting 30 miles uphill on the bike, and then you have to make a vlog and your phone is dead and the microphone is broken and all of those frustrations. Like, did you ever get to the stage where you were like smashing the phones on the floor next to the road or anything like that?
Well, also because for this particular world record, the last one that I did, it was a world record. Of course, I had to video everything, and you have to have 10 minutes of video footage, and you have to have photos along the way that I've got. Honestly, the GoPro went, and then the battery goes, and then that hasn't downloaded, and then okay, so then I'm literally cycling along with my camera in front of me on my phone because I haven't got anything to go in it, and then I've got a little gimbal thing, and that's flown out and is smashed on the floor. And it just, yes, those days happened where I was like, come on. But yeah, just filming stuff and everything, and not worrying about it, and not feeling like you have to put everything out there, but just filming as much as you can, really, to document what's going on is important.
That's great advice, you don't have to put everything out there, but as much as you want to or can. And then, another thing is, I think when people start off with video, they feel like they're cursed. They feel like they're the only ones that this happens to, and they're like, I just don't understand why this is happening to me. The program keeps breaking, the something. And I'm like, girl or guy, this is my life. Like, this is the world I live in. Everything breaks all the time. It is so frustrating, but the payoff, I think, at the end of it is always makes it worthwhile. And it's why I haven't left the industry yet and gone off and grown vegetables or whatever I'd actually like to do outside of video. Then I will ask you just a couple of things then. Do you have a few tips? Now you've covered loads of tips already so far about video, but do you have a few tips for potentially other people or other adventurers who want to create more content?
Yeah. Watch all your videos on YouTube. That would be my top tip. Because ultimately there is so much content in there. For me, I pretty much follow what your advice on stuff, if I'm honest. So having the Cinemaster Quick, a phone, a gimbal, just simple, just gimbal, and then trying it out. Like, don't feel that the first thing, you literally just want to be playing around, and no, it's only for you. And do that for a week. Just mess about with it and not worry too much about it being perfect. And then within a week, you'll think, oh, it's not too bad, actually. So yeah, that would be my top tip. Watch all your videos.
I thought you meant watch your own videos back. You're far too kind to me, Nahla. I really appreciate it. So, second last question is, tell me, I only just got wind of what your next adventure is, and I'm actually thinking of just leaving everything here and coming with you. What is your next adventure, and what kind of video, what's your strategy, I guess, for video in this next adventure?
Well, we need to have a conversation about this, actually. But So I'm going from north to south or south to north because I'm in conversation about what's the best way of New Zealand. Going to be doing it on a two-seated bike. I'm in a conversation with a cycle shop, watch this space, about loaning one of their very, very unique bikes that is almost like two bikes together. And the idea will be that I will invite people that I meet along the way in New Zealand, and they'll be able to look me up as well and come join me and be on the second seat along the way. I will be again relying on the kindness of strangers, which is what I have done from the walk and really on the Elliptical as well. I relied on the kindness of strangers, and I'll be camping this time, which I have not done, which is going to be interesting. Um, and yeah, it will be it basically the idea will be that on the bike itself, I will be filming the conversations that I have with people. And we'll be talking about kindness, talking about the challenges that they've had, about the country that they live in and the impact that that has, because I'm about to do some research into how countries are affected by kindness and which ones where there's a culture of kindness internally, how that impacts them financially. Um, so yeah, it's going to be epic. It will take me about 6 weeks. Just been drawing up the route plan, which is which is a challenge. But yeah, it does look like it's all falling into place pretty quickly, actually. I mean, I say that that's usually how it goes, and then it all falls apart, and then I have to start again, and then it all falls apart, and then I feel like about 2 weeks before I'm about to go that actually I should have just done no planning at all because I'm starting from scratch again. But it's all in the journey, isn't it? It's all in the journey.
Oh my God. I've driven from the top of the North Island to the bottom of the South Island, and I think it took me a lot longer than 6 weeks, and that was painful enough. I don't know how you do what you do. I know the way you say, like, people look at me and they think I could do this. I look at you and I think I could never do that. No way. Oh my God, you're what an amazing experience though. And there's this girl in New Zealand, she's a mobile video enthusiast as well, and she uses double take. It's an app that Filmic Pro has. And what it allows her to do, she gives news from the cycle path in Amsterdam every morning, and she has the you should definitely. I'll send her on your link. I'll send you on her link. But she's got a tripod fixed to the front of the bike, and then this app allows her to record using the back camera and the front camera, so you can see what she's seeing, but it's picture in picture, or else side by side to what's going on around her, and then you could even go live with that or something. So listen, we'll have loads of conversations
Yes,
for New
yes.
Zealand.
And also I'm interested, there's this whole kind of gimbal on bikes, how to do that and keeping it light as well, as light as possible, because what I'm always trying to do is not have loads of equipment. You want tiny things, lightweight everything. You've got a bag effectively with all your belongings in. You have one change of clothes. What you do not want to do is add a great big bulky camera that's heavier than all your stuff put together. So yeah, it is. It's about learning, and definitely it'll be interesting to see what setup I end up going with on the bike.
But what's so cool about this as well is, like people you've been giving acts of kindness and people have given you acts of kindness throughout all of your missions. But this one, they're actually like helping you to achieve the goal of like, I love this idea. It's so cool and so clever. And I can't wait. And so listen, at the moment you're training for the Couch to Marathon. What date is the marathon? Where can people find out more information as well, just to keep up to date with what you're doing?
Yeah, so you can follow me. I am doing daily TikToks. Not well, but I'm doing them. And I will actually do the marathon on the 21st. So you can follow me on TikTok, which is at Nahla Summers. Yeah, I'm on Instagram again at Nahla Summers. Facebook, I'm not using so much, but on my challenges, I do go on lives. And what I will be doing is sharing on StreamYard, which allows me to put it onto the YouTube and the Facebook and all of it. And so when I'm out in New Zealand, I will be using that a lot more. So yeah, you can kind of look me up, follow me on all of those things really. And I kind of post different things depending on what's going on and how I'm feeling.
And don't forget as well, buy the book. It's
Buy
so
the
awesome.
book.
So good, really now. Like, it's so inspiring, magical. Thank you so much for your time and being my first live experience. And I totally might take you up on your StreamYard idea and go for StreamYard next time. That's such a great app. And then hopefully people can follow my live journeys and see which they'd be more comfortable with. So follow everything that this lady